Yo! What the?
There were workers on the bridge, and there's an unknown amount of those workers in the water. But be advised, the key bridge is gone.
This morning, our state is in shock.
As we say good morning and welcome into News 4. It's been a very busy day so far.
But never would you think that you would physically see the Key Bridge tumble down like that. It looked like something out of an action movie.
My husband woke me up this morning and said, "Russ, the Key Bridge is gone." I couldn't believe it. I'm heartbroken.
It felt like an earthquake, sounded like just a big boom, as loud as you could imagine. It shook my bedroom.
And the bang was unbelievable, like a bomb went off.
Holy, and was like the bridge is gone.
So we just continue to stay on top of this. It's just a heartbreaking story, Jimmy. So many of us have driven over that bridge, and now it's not here anymore.
We know the Key Bridge. I've ridden over the Key Bridge countless times. So many of us know the Key Bridge because it is our normal commute. This is a place that is a normal commute route for over 30,000 Marylanders every single day.
We have to, first and foremost, pray for all of those who are impacted, those families. Pray for our first responders and thank them.
We learned that there were 8 workers on the bridge at the time of the collapse. They were all doing pothole repair.
People that were working on the bridge, those 6 people that are still missing, apparently fell 140 feet. That's how high that bridge was at the center of where it collapsed.
And I was like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me.
The overnight collapse sent people into the frigid water below. Now rescuers are racing the clock to find the victims. The conditions not helping their search.
It's 40, 50 feet of water, strong currents. The weather is windy, the water is cold.
As new details emerge from Baltimore, we have a look at the safeguards installed in Cleveland to ensure a similar scene doesn't happen here. But first, yes, the search, rescue, and recovery efforts underway in Baltimore several hours after the collapse of that bridge.
So authorities say that 6 people remain unaccounted for at this hour. The bridge sees about 30,000 motorists each and every day. And officials say that this incident could have been much worse had it happened during rush hour. ABC's Christian Cordero joins us now from the scene with the latest.
Devastated. Devastated because our heart is broken, because we don't know how they've been rescued yet. We are just waiting for the news.
There's one thing I have to say today. It is a note of gratitude for the extraordinary and courageous work of the first responders, some of whom are in that cold water right now.
My heart goes out to these families and everything there, the people that were on the bridge and all. I just never really seen such devastation like this.
Coal shipments.
It's one of the most important elements for the economy in the Northeast. I've directed my team to move heaven and earth to reopen the port and rebuild the bridge as soon as humanly possible.
Authorities say there is no credible evidence the incident was an act of terror. Christian Cordero, ABC News, Baltimore.
And of course, the tragedy there in Baltimore is putting safety top of mind around the country and also here at home in Northeast Ohio.
So as the details continue to emerge in what happened there in Baltimore, we're checking in with safety experts here at home to see how our bridges are maintained and improved. News 5's Catherine Ross continues our team coverage.
In Northeast Ohio, they carry our traffic and dot our skylines.
Yeah, here in Cleveland, it's impossible to avoid bridges. Yeah, I mean, you can't cross from the east side or the west side without crossing a bridge, if not like 2 or 3 bridges.
Daniel Mateo Antoneda says the safety of those bridges is something that only recently crossed his mind.
Honestly, it's not something like we really think about too much. Yeah. But now that this happened, I mean, obviously.
Early Tuesday in Baltimore, a major bridge collapsed after a large container ship collided with it.
It was one of the first things we discussed with our bridge supervisors here at the garage this morning, just how bad it really is.
Cuyahoga County engineer Dave Ray tells us inspecting and maintaining more than 200 bridges is a full-time job for his department.
Anything that they're rating on decks, the structure, all the way down to the paint, anything and everything really.
4 inspectors and several supervisors are checking all of the county's bridges for safety a minimum of every 2 years, usually sooner. ODOT, too, is regularly inspecting 14,000 bridges statewide.
It's because we keep such a close tab on them that allows us to get ahead of any issues you might see.
Even with our many bridges here in Northeast Ohio, both the county and ODOT say what happened in Baltimore is unlikely to happen here.
The ship size that's coming up the Cuyahoga River, the speed that is coming up the Cuyahoga River will be very low, very small relative to what we're seeing in Baltimore.
Under the county's purview, the Harvard-Denison Bridge is the closest to any shipping channels, but Ray says large vessels don't come this far upstream. Even so, safety experts here in Ohio and around the country tell us they keep a close eye on details coming out of disasters like the one in Baltimore, so they can take away any safety lessons to be learned. In Cleveland, Catherine Ross, News 5.
As we learn new details about the bridge collapse in Baltimore, we will provide updates on air and online. And ABC's World News Tonight will have continuing coverage for you right here on News 5 at 6:30.
The preliminary investigation points to an accident. We haven't seen any credible evidence of a terrorist attack.
So the NTSB arrived on scene at 6 a.m. To investigate an accident involving a Singapore-registered vessel with the name Dolly, which made contact with the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore, Maryland, at around 1:30 a.m. this morning.
It's a massive container ship heading out of the port suddenly lost power. A work crew of 8 with Bronner Builders is on the span fixing potholes. The video shows thick black smoke suddenly coming from the ship's smokestack, and then the awful collision. The crew knew it was in trouble and radioed a mayday. That gave Maryland Toll Facilities Police time to stop traffic.
I'd hold all traffic on the Key Bridge. There's a ship approaching that just lost their steering. So until you get that under control, we gotta stop all traffic.
I have to say, I'm thankful for the folks who once the warning came up and once notification came up that there was a mayday, who literally by being able to stop cars from coming over the bridge, these people are heroes. They saved lives last night.
I first want to ask you, can you explain what type of bridge this was, the Key Bridge, how it works and why it couldn't withstand the force of this cargo vessel running into it?
Type of bridge is what we call it continuous steel truss bridge. I have a small model over here if you want me to show it for this bridge. It's a little bit similar to this bridge. I can show it to you in order to explain to the people what type of bridge it is.
Yes, please do. Can you show us that model?
Okay. Here is the model. This is the 3 supports. This is span number 1, which is a short span, and this is the long span, which is actually for this bridge is an arch, and this is the 3rd span. So unfortunately, the ship hit this support and over here and toppled the truss, which is supporting the traffic of the support. And even the pier over here is badly damaged. So right now, this bridge, after you remove this center support over here, is spanning between this point, and this bridge is not designed to span this long distance.
According to the Associated Press, a senior executive at the construction company says that the 6 workers are now presumed dead. Despite that, just moments ago, Maryland Governor Moore says that a search and rescue operation is still underway. A ship struck the bridge just after 1:30 a.m., causing the collapse. Governor Moore says the ship's crew was able to warn officials of a power issue on board, and traffic was stopped on the bridge. However, a pothole repair crew was not able to get off the bridge, and officials believe the missing workers were part of that crew.
You notice that the Port of Baltimore, which, as your viewers know, is one of the busiest ports in the entire country, it is sort of shocking to see that there is no ship traffic right now, how slow it is. Everything has been put on pause.
It's my intention that the federal government will pay for the entire cost of reconstructing that bridge, and I expect the Congress to support my effort. This is going to take some time. The people of Baltimore can count on us, though. stick with them at every step of the way until the port is reopened and the bridge is rebuilt.
This is no ordinary bridge. This is one of the cathedrals of American infrastructure. It has been part of the skyline of this region for longer than many of us have been alive. So the path to normalcy will not be easy. It will not be quick. It will not be inexpensive. But we will rebuild together.
It's the pride of Baltimore, that Key Bridge. Not only just what it signifies as far as Francis Scott Key and the national anthem being written right here at Fort McHenry, but as an ironworker and to appreciate that for the structure, the magnificent engineering and workmanship that went into that.
You know, it's tough. Neighbors who live around here and see what's happening on this bridge every day are really thinking about those 6 still unaccounted for.
It's like an old friend. You know, it just, you know, every morning I go, no matter what the temperature, or even if it's raining, you know, I go out there, stand along the fence, look out there. Sometimes I even go down onto the pier. That's where I go fishing at.
You know, this isn't just our region. This is I-95, the main street of the East Coast. That's going to be affected here. So obviously it's going to take a lot of time to put these pieces back together. Heartbroken to see the Key Bridge that is now not there anymore. Jumi, it's really indescribable to not be able to see the bridge right there.
And lastly, to the victims of this tragedy and their loved ones, all of our hearts are broken. We feel your loss. We're thinking of you, and we will always be thinking of you. We pray for the construction workers who are on the Key Bridge, and we pray for everyone who has been touched by this tragedy and their families and all of their loved ones. But Maryland, we will get through this, because that is the Maryland spirit, and that's what Maryland was made of. We are Maryland tough, and we are Baltimore strong. So in the face of heartbreak, we come together. We embrace one another, and we come back stronger. That's what we've always done. That's what we'll continue to do. And that's what we're going to get done together. And we're going to pray for Baltimore.